Hi, host Eric here. I was talking with famous people, and EccentricM was kind enough to come up with a interesting topic. It's something to do with China, and it's 5 things. And he's going to tell us what it is because I don't know anything about it. So I said, okay, here's something I can ask him questions about. Number 1 question: 5 things of what?
These are the 5 elements, or more accurately put, 5 phases.
5 phases of a human's
yeah.
life.
No, it's the 5 different world elements that all interact with each other. 5 natural phenomena, as it were.
World elements, you say, like fire, earth, wind, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, right. If I can, I think I've got the list here for them all. Yeah, we've got fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And the phases is how they all connect to each other. They're not separate elements, but one feeds the other. And they've also got interconnections to each other as well.
Yes, I will answer that question, okay? So, obviously, Callum points out the fact that ancient Chinese ideas stole their idea from Pokemon. Would you agree with that?
It's possible. We don't know how old the Pokemon are, so maybe they came first, and then the Chinese said, "Hey, whatever they're doing."
Right. My theory is it was only the ancient Chinese who briefly discovered time travel, traveled in the future, stole the idea from Pokemon, went back to the past, initiated the idea, thereby enabling Pokemon to steal it from them. Anyway, regardless of that, so we've got 5 elements. How do you think that has to do with a human being? I know I can think of me having 3 at least of the elements in me, 4 of the elements in me, right? Actually, probably all 5. I got matter, dirt. I got I breathe. I got air, oxygen. I got liquids in me, blood. I got heat. I'm not cold. I'm not room temperature. And I guess I got spirit as well. When I got my pom poms, I'm out there cheering for my team.
Well, the 5 elements is kind of like a more in-depth division of all the natural phenomena that you have in the physical world, but based off of the Tao, the yin and yang, contrasting opposites. So it kind of branches out from that into the elements, and everything has a interconnection and opposite to it. And in terms of the personality theory I was bringing up, is that they're not looking at the physical elements, but how they represent certain personalities.
Is it descriptive or analogous or something that humans somehow break into the 5 categories in an analogous fashion as life or existence breaks into 5 elements?
Well, we basically have all of the elements, and we try to balance them all out accordingly, and they all feed each other accordingly to stay balanced and healthy. But of course, you'll have a leaning, which is what in the Chinese test they call the archetype. We can have more than one as well. So it's usually 2 at the most together, working together, will be your leaning. Now the theory is, if they are 2 elements that are next to each other, then that's normal because one feeds the other. But if they're not, what's the word? Is it adjacent or something like that?
Yeah, adjacent is the word.
Adjacent, yeah. So if they're not adjacent and you have 2 of these elements scoring high, then you've got a problem. And then you've got an imbalance somewhere.
You've got a problem of non-adjacency.
So, it's I've done this test with a few people, and a lot of people said it's accurate. And
do it on me! Do it on me!
Well, I've put the link in the chat. It's one of those you have to click choices and you get to score.
Can't you read it to me? Because I can't do anything on my computer when I'm filming. It goes too slow.
Not in the minute, but let's see. It kind of goes in depth, and it will take some reading. I can link you to it in the future as well.
That sounds like off-camera stuff.
Yeah, it does. It is. Okay. But it goes through the typical traits of each element, and of course typical problems each element might have as well with each person. So with me, I have a balance of fire and earth. And if we look at the problems section, which is most common with fire and earth, we have anxiety, agitation, frenzy, bizarre perceptions, nervous exhaustion, insomnia, palpitations, sweating, rashes, all different things. But I found these very accurate. And with earth, we have worry, obsession, self-doubt, and so on. But with
Can you read the description? Can you read a description like that
yeah,
of adjectives of each of the five? Of each of the five.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
I can do that. Yeah. So we have wood. They seek challenges to push to the limit, enjoys and does well under pressure, admires speed, novelty and skill, loves action, movement and adventure, and likes to be first, best and only. Typical problems: intolerance and impatience, volatile emotions, extremist, external or internal. Physical problems might be headaches, muscle spasms, high blood pressure, nerve inflammations, migraines, abuse of stimulants and sedatives. Now the next element to that is fire. So they relish in excitement, delight in intimacy, keenly intuitive, passionately empathetic, believes in the power of charisma and desire, loves sensation, drama and sentiment, likes to be hot, bright and vibrant. Typical problems: anxiety, agitation, frenzy, bizarre perceptions, nervous exhaustion, insomnia, palpitations, sweating, rashes, palsy, nerve inflammations, migraines, abuse of stimulants and sedatives. Earth element: wants to be involved and needed, likes to be in charge but not in the limelight, agreeable and accommodating, wants to be all things to all people, seeks harmony and togetherness, insists on loyalty, security and predictability. Typical problems: worry, obsession and self-doubt, meddling and overprotective, overextended and inert, lethargy, unruly appetite, water retention, muscle tenderness, unrealistic expectations and disappointment. And then we've got the metal element. They like definition, structure and discipline, respects virtue, discretion and authority, lives to seek according to reason and principle, holds others to the highest standards, reserves beauty, ceremony and refinement. Typical problems: indifference and inhibition, strict, formal, distant and natural, stiff joints and muscles, dry skin and hair, shallow breathing, sensitive to climate, poor circulation, self-righteousness and disillusionment. And finally the water element: articulate, clever, introspective, self-contained, self-sufficient, penetrating, critical, scrutinizing, seeks knowledge and understanding, likes to remain hidden, enigmatic, anonymous. Typical problems: emotionally inaccessible, undemonstrative, isolation and loneliness, tactless, unforgiving and suspicious, hardening of the arteries, deterioration of teeth and gums, backache, chilliness and loss of libido. And there are the 5 elements: positives and negatives.
Oh shit, fucking dogs again. Fuck these fucking dogs. Okay, so I think I'm wood and water, maybe. Do I float?
So wood and water. So if you've got those, then they are adjacent as well.
They're adjacent. So that's a good thing,
yeah,
right?
so next to each other. Yeah, that's a good thing.
I mean, it's possible to be sane.
Yeah. And then you've got the ones that are not adjacent, but they do connect, and that's for the wood it would be earth, and for the water it would be fire. They're the opposing ones, but they are interconnected, and it's balancing those out is which, according to the theory, is good for overall balance and well-being. Or you'll always have a leaning, but that will kind of try to outdo each other with in certain ways or certain situations. And how you're
Well,
thinking
I
and
identify
so on.
with a couple of the um, physical things, and then others I don't identify with at all. I really don't identify with the
Yeah.
wood physical ailments.
Right.
I'd more identify with the water physical ailments. There was one I wrote
Yeah.
that was right for wood. I don't
You might
remember what
lean
it
to one
was.
more than the other, and you might not have all of the negative aspects, just like how one would not have all of the positive aspects.
Well, this is certainly an interesting sort of descriptive analogy for whatever and I think perhaps we go on to the next video. We should talk about, in fact, the role of descriptive analogies. At what point rationalists roll their eyes at certain kind of models and modeling principles and stuff like that in general, and whether and when that's a reasonable response, and whether and when that's representative of some sort of arbitrary uh, preference for consistency on one vector over another. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about next. But this video, thank you very much, EccentricM, for answering questions about the 5 elements of ancient Chinese lore. Is that what we should call them? I think so. Okay.
You would call it that.